My beer, Jordan.
Okay. Hold my hand, Brian.
No.
You know, I'm kind of scared to drive.
Yeah, is it hard?
No, not really. Just gotta get the hang of it.
Huh. So, from a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
Probably about a. Yeah, I drink and drive all the time. It's really fun. I don't really care about it. -3.
Why?
Well, I'm a really irresponsible driver. I like to drink and drive. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, Jordan. You should try it.
Almost every 90 seconds, a person is injured in a drunk driving crash.
So, how often do you drive?
About every day.
Is that an answer or a question?
It's an answer?
And you drive drunk.
Yeah, I'm a really irresponsible individual. People trying to trash me on the roads. People could die out there.
Don't you know that you put innocent civilians every day on and off the road at risk?
Doesn't really matter.
It's over!
Fine.
Drunk driving costs each adult in this country almost $500 per year.
How have you been affected by drunk driving?
Well, you always read about, young people, old people who die as a result of a drunk driver. And so I'm always very careful. However, recently I was at a dinner party and there were other guests there who offered to give me a ride home. And I didn't realize that they were drunk. They were an older couple. I expected them to be responsible. But it was a husband and wife, and the husband was clearly drunk, and he was swerving all over the road, and his wife kept asking him to pull over, and he wouldn't. And finally she said, if you don't pull over, not only will I divorce you, I'm going to grab the wheel. And so he finally did pull over, and she took the wheel, and she apologized to me at a later time. But you just don't know who you can trust, behind a wheel. But obviously it affects young people, it affects old people. It's always best, I guess, to just really monitor yourself and just not put yourself in a position where you ever find yourself behind a wheel drunk or dependent on somebody else. And so I think having a designated driver at the beginning of the evening is probably the safest way to go. I've been actually involved in several collisions, and it was when I was younger. I was in a really bad accident, fractured my wrist. It was very irresponsible of me. I felt that the brake was kind of stuck, and so I took my eyes off the road to look at the brake, and I hit a parked car. And so I was young, but it's kind of, when you're young, you're very confident, you think you have the situation under control, but it was a clear example of never take your eyes off the road. Even if it was not a well-traveled road, but there was a parked car, and I felt horrible because the people who owned that parked car were just getting ready to sell it. It was an older antique type car. And so, yeah, I felt very, very bad. And needless to say, I was a senior in high school when that happened, and so I no longer had a car, and I had to take the school bus with every other kid. So I paid the price. But anyway, so yeah, so and I've been in other collisions, but I would say that was probably the most severe. Actually, I was in another collision, and it was raining at this little tiny Chevette, and as I was entering the highway, I slammed on the brakes, and the car started skidding, and I ended up doing a 360, but every time I did 90, I hit the side rail. So it was boom, a turn, boom, a turn. So I did a pretty good job on the car, but again, that was lack of knowledge. I should have known to take my foot off the brake. Instead, I kept it on and lost control of the car. So, but yeah, so that's it. So those are two of the worst collisions I've been in.
So that sounds really scary.
It is scary, but that's why it's so important that, unfortunately, you don't know what. I know you're always told if you feel the car is skidding, if you feel you're on ice, to not slam on the brakes, but it's a natural reaction, you know, to do that. And so it's I think the driving school actually offers a class on skidding. And so I think that's a good one to actually take because it gives you a feel for what it's like to have the car kind of skid out of control and what to do and, you know, what direction to turn the wheel in and such. So anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's how it's gonna be.
Okay, stop. Have you ever been?
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Doesn't really matter. You're supposed to break up with me.
It's over.
Why? No. Why? That's good, I think. Okay, what do you
Right in
want?
the camera's face.
Yep.
A lot of fun.
Zoom in and press this down halfway. Make it.
I'm on time. Not getting.